Coach, we were just talking right now about the heat and everything like that. How much does that play into an advantage when you have teams who come from places where maybe it's still a little chilly right now, and especially that second half, we're talking about a lot of players being gassed, things like that. There's a lot of games going on right now. How much is that an advantage to you when the weather starts kicking in?
Typically, I'd say the heat, we absolutely have to use it to our advantage, and we want to use the ball tomorrow. We want to make the opponent suffer when you have it and they want to chase, or make them chase when they don't want to. It's part of what makes us successful, but we know we also have to have the right amount of freshness, and we have some tired legs, but our guys got to be certainly mentality ready to go, and whatever 11 we use is going to be in a space that's fit and ready. But using the ball in the heat is important. It's still about how you can execute, grab goals, and that's what causes the biggest stress. Obviously keeping the ball is one element of it, but creating goals, scoring goals, and now really making the opponent feel that, and then now have them have to chase the ball and work to get the ball back. That's where it really starts to become detrimental to what they can do. But we love the heat. Heat is good for us. I think it fuels us. It fuels our fans as well. So we look forward to the opportunity tomorrow night.
Josh, you've got two young guys in Owen and then now Dani, who are really starting to make their mark on an international level, and they're players that I know you've talked about before, about players that could be sold on and be an asset for this club going forward. What kind of market are you guys seeing for both of those guys, and are they players that could potentially move as soon as this summer transfer window?
I think with any young player, there's the ability for them to move quickly. It's the opportunities for Dani Pereira now is the hope that he can get called in with Venezuela and play with Venezuela. I think part of his development here over 2.5 years has been tremendous. I think we as a club invested in him and believed in him from the onset. We rode with him and helped push and encourage him to express himself, but to keep learning. He still needs to keep learning. He's a young player, and likewise with Owen. He's in a different platform right now, getting a little more experience with the youth national teams, but both of them have high quality and high potential. I'm not surprised by the success that they're having. I won't be surprised if there are offers that come for both of them, but we will do what's best for the club. They are assets, they are resources, they are human beings, they are players, so if we want to keep them here long term, that is also one avenue. But if they want and have desires to go, we also have to be open to that. But they will get those opportunities because of what they've done as footballers, and we're proud to have both of them.
And one of those players just happens to be your son, which I imagine is just and you've balanced that, I think, very well in terms of how you've spoken about him in the way of any other player. But I have to imagine when you're in the position where you're going to be fielding offers potentially for Owen, are you thinking about, in addition to what's best for the club, also like what his future, what is going to be best for his own future?
Yeah, I think it's always keeping in mind what the players' wants are. I think that's the starting point. Any question I ask any player, whether it's an older player, what is it you want? What are you willing to do to get there? And then how can we help you in that process? And I think our league is a selling league. Our league is now developing and moving talent. And if our players want to leave and they want to go abroad and they have that opportunity, like any player, son or not, that's in some sense that's up to them as well. We as a club have to be mindful of what it looks like if we want to keep them, and obviously what it looks like when we sell them and the resources that can give us. But each situation is different. But I treat them all the same, in that way.
And have there yet been any actual offers for either of those players?
There haven't been any offers. There's been some contact from some clubs, yes.
Having Sebastian back, we saw what it did Wednesday, him scoring late. What does his presence do for the team, just kind of having him around and training and everything?
I think there's an emotional response from the fans, from the players. Having Seba, around the guys always is important. His impact on the field is instantaneous. He is such a talented player. He's such a unique individual. I think, both on the field, it resonates quickly. There's a sense of urgency. There's a sense of quality. There's a sense of belief he has in himself, but now what he brings to the group. The fans obviously react in a really, really strong way that gives us, the fuel and energy that's needed as well. But I think we need him to perform at a high level, as we need everyone. I think, Diego's coming back into it as well. Julio's now been fit, and all of our guys, Emmy, Giassi, Maxi, Will, all these guys have to find ways to contribute. But Seba's a special player, and we have to get him fit now, as he's been out for nearly a month. But you can see just how quickly he can make an impact. He came in and instantly helps give us quality with the ball. Certainly the execution in the final third that we've sometimes lacked. So we're going to need him to contribute tomorrow, without a doubt.
I know, just piggybacking off of that, Diego is in the starting lineup. And so what will it take for you to see out of Seba to be able to get back to that starting lineup?
For Seba, any of these guys that have been out for extended amounts of time, it's first getting out on the training field and showing where you're at physically, how they get minutes. Diego's been able to get 30 minutes in a few games. He got 60 minutes the other night, and I thought he did well in those 60 minutes. And now, how does he recover, and how is he available for this game? We'll still assess. But Seba's no different. He got some minutes. I don't think he was out as long as Diego. He's been taking part in training for a while, and 30 minutes I think was good for him. We'll see what he can tolerate tomorrow. But like anybody that's out, we got to get him minutes, consistency, and performance. And obviously we know how impactful he is for the group. But we don't want to risk him. We want to encourage him to play, and obviously in a strong way.
Josh, All-Star balloting has opened earlier this week, and even before he scored on Wednesday's match, Jon Gallagher was looking like a really strong candidate for that, officially the right back positions where he's nominated for. Would you like to, make a bit of a case for him to be named to that team?
I don't know what the stat. What's really challenging is with Apple, I don't see as many games, to be honest. I'm not able to watch as many games outside of our other opponents. We've had a really busy schedule, so I'm not even really familiar with what other teams or fullbacks have been doing well in the league, or if any of them have the numbers that John has. But he's put himself in a really good place playing for us, and we've utilized him in a number of positions, but left back, right back, even winger at times. But he has the ability to make an impact. He's a very difficult player to play against because of his speed and his combativeness, and he still has a ways to go development, but he takes on everything. He's a competitor, and he certainly should be in there with a shout. There's no doubt about it. Again, I'm not familiar with everybody else, but when you score 5 goals, you have a few assists, and contribute in the way that he has, game in and game out, I think it should give him, certainly some hope.
And then just this finishing ability that he's kind of flashed, throughout the season, is that just kind of an icing on the cake, something that, maybe necessarily wasn't the game plan to have him be finishing off these chances?
Yeah,
like this?
He came to us as a winger. I mean, we used him as a winger. You're transitioning a winger back to fullback, so wingback is actually a really probably complementary position for him. I love the fact that it was wingback to wingback. That to me was really something that we joked about inside. And I saw Johnny when he played at Notre Dame. I know who Johnny is. I know his qualities. He's capable of scoring with left foot, with right foot, heading. I mean, Johnny is a bit of jack of all trades. What he does when he gets out on the field is he finds a way to make an impact, and that's I think what we appreciate most about him.
How is Rado's shoulder, and is he in a spot where you can maybe get a start this weekend?
Yeah, we're going to have to keep seeing. He trained today with us. There's obviously some pain there, and we'll see how he comes through the training session today. But we got a number of guys that are dinged up right now. It's about grinding through this last game that's in a series of 9 Saturday, Wednesdays for us. And, he was doing bicycles to clear balls off the line. He was putting his head in places. So he's a warrior, and I expect him to be ready in some capacity.
Are you still working on an extension for him? Would you like to see him stay in Austin for a
Yeah,
little bit longer?
I think these things are all still in a very fluid manner. He's playing now. He's getting minutes. He was out for a long time, so his loan is through June, and we'll continue to monitor and assess it and make the right decision at the time.
And I want to go back to Dani for one.
Sure.
It seems like we've all seen how much he's grown since you drafted him. How much pride do you take in kind of contributing to that major development that's allowed him to get a call up?
Yeah, I think our whole staff and organization should take pride in it. This was, I think there was criticism when we selected him, but he's a talented player. He came here a talented player, but you got to continue to polish the player, whether he's 20, 21. I tell these guys, you have to have a growth mindset and still be open. 30-year-olds, you still have the ability to learn and take on more information, and you got to give Pepe a lot of credit. Physically, he's developed in a really good way. Our high-performance team has worked with him. He didn't come here with the idea that he was a strong defending player, but I think he takes pride in that, takes more pride in it. Still has to get better, but his development and his ability to have an influence on our group over 2.5 years has been quite clear. And there aren't many center mids in the league like him. Again, he has a unique ability with the ball to navigate pressure. I look at the Nagbys and the Eric Williamsons of the world that have this quality, and you got to layer in the defending side of it. You have to want to defend, and I talk very candidly. If you want to go to Europe, there's 2 sides to this, and there will always be 2 sides. And he knows that. He's continuing to take on the information and the competing and combating, but there's also just responsibility, soccer education and acumen, which I think he's developed as well. But we're all proud. And if Pepe decides he wants to stay in Austin long term, if he gets an opportunity to go to Europe, those things are remain to be seen. But if he gets a chance with Venezuela, there's no better opportunity than playing for your country.
Josh, I don't think it's possible for you guys to have had more matches on the calendar in the month of May than you had.
I think that's right.
8 is pretty much, I think, how it's maxed out. I think June is going to be half that. You know,
Yeah.
how, first of all, you know, how much nice is it to see May in the rearview mirror, knowing that grind is over, and what changes now that you have half as many matches in this month?
Yeah, what changes is we'll look to see where our player personnel is at. Obviously, it'll be a little bit slower schedule, but you know, I've appreciated the guys. You know, we've been without a number of players during the busiest schedule that I've ever been part of, I think, as a player or coach. And you know, all the other teams are probably in a similar situation. So you got to deal with it however you can deal with it. We've had, you know, a number of injuries and some call-ups that really stressed us for it. And you know, the results along the way have been, for me, the performances and the results along the way have been what has been quite telling. You guys, you know, they knew we were going to be missing our MVP. They knew we were going to, you know, have Julio out and obviously get him reintroduced, and Diego and Owen being gone. So the guys that are here and the guys that can make an impact have done that. They've made an impact, and you know, we've won some games. We've probably given away some points that we didn't need to. Maybe we won a point or two that we shouldn't have. But the ability to push through that month in a difficult time with so many games, home and away, with the personnel changes that are needed in that type of schedule, the guys have grinded and pushed through. And I think we put ourselves in a great spot to get, you know, hopefully our 4th win in 5 games, 12 points out of 15, and keep improving mostly, but keep moving up the table as well.
You spoke about those call-ups having some type of impact on the player personnel. I know with Dani getting called up now,
Yeah.
you may miss that Sporting KC, FC Dallas game. So have you thought about the adjustments you have to make during that time period?
I'm thinking right now about tomorrow and which 11 are going to be healthy to go, and then which guys are available as subs. You know, I think we'll see what happens, you know, after that game, and see what happens with the games potentially for Dani Pereira. But you know, we'll see how Owen progresses at the World Cup. They obviously have a big game against Uruguay on Sunday, and you know, after that we have a few days, well, a normal week to prepare for Kansas City, but you know, we can't look too much further ahead. Salt Lake's a really, really good opponent. We want to end this stretch of 8-9 games in a real positive way and utilize the best players that we have available today, and we'll put our focus and set our focus on Kansas City and who's at our disposal when that comes.
And then have you heard, I mean, I'm sure you have, but what's Owen been saying? How's his experience going? I know he's contributed in a big way even in this knockout round, so how's he doing and how's he enjoying the experience down there?
I think he says that, you know, from what I hear, the group is extremely tight. They're you know, a spirited group. They haven't given up any goals. They enjoy one another. They do things as a team, you know, just as you want in any strong culture and environment. And when they get out on the field, they look very unified and committed and connected. You know, they don't give up goals. They create a lot of chances. The games will get tougher here quickly. You know, and as for any player, you relish the opportunity to play, whatever role that is, if it's a starter or as a reserve. I think Owens showed great responsibility, security, willingness to run, you know, playing a little bit different position there than he does with us, but it's a position he's played for us. So I think, you know, he's shown great comfortability, and again, he's a very consistent performer. I think that's been the most telling. And he finds ways to create and certainly get some chances. So we'll see. Hopefully he's part of that next group. I have no idea, but the goal for them is to win and move on. That's it. I mean, give yourself a chance to keep progressing in an amazing competition.
Is he going to come home drinking mate with Seba and Maxi and speaking fluent Spanish?
I would love it. I would love for him to. He's a pretty calm kid. He doesn't get carried away with too much. He doesn't get too down when things go. I think, you know, for me that's a space that I've tried to you know, that's a way I try to live my life as well, and you know, it keeps you in a pretty level-headed spot, and he's hungry to perform. That's what I know about Owen, and you know, whatever the situation is, the opportunity, he's calm and ready to go, and you know, if and when he gets back here, we'll take him and get him reacclimated with the group.
Coach, you've won 3 out of the last 4. What has brought upon this, you know, just kind of winning ways all of a sudden, you know, being able to string these 3, especially, you know, in Dallas it was a little bit of a late minute, thing like that. But just like your comment and what you believe to be just brought about this winning way.
Yeah, I think when I think of the whole month, you know, as a whole, I think of starting with Portland, what it's looked like, knowing we were going to be without some guys, knowing that we were going to have some guys, and this is kind of what we rallied around these next 8 or 9 games potentially being about, the personnel that we were going to have, and kind of the fluidity with the way that we wanted to play, both structurally, but just more with the group of guys. You know, Portland was, again, a good game on the road. There's what it looks like on the road and what it looks like at home. And anytime you have the lead, home or away, teams are going to throw anything and everything they have at you, and you got to be able to withstand that, or you got to be able to knock them out. And you know, we felt that certainly in Seattle. We felt that the other night against Minnesota. You know, obviously we were there for a point against Dallas, as you mentioned. We're down a guy grinding, but the guys have showed great character, great resiliency. There's disappointment when we do when a result eludes us, but we also have to keep in mind we've grabbed some very good results, and you know, the group gets more and more connected and gets more and more fuel when these positive results have, and when they weren't there and the performances were good, that's what we keep pushing on and harping. And you know, it's a delicate league. There's such small margins of winning and losing in our league. You see it in the standings as well. You can move quickly with some good results, and obviously you can stay static if you're not able to win games. Ties don't do you a whole lot of good, but there are good ties and bad ties. I think we're all aware of that. But you know, we got a great opportunity again to cap this off, get 4 out of our last 5, and really keep good connection with the top of the with the leaders in our conference.
Anything else for Josh before we let him go?
Good.
All right, thanks,
Thank you,
Coach.
Coach.
Thank you, guys.